Welcome to the Cayman's Island podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Cayman, and in today's show, we're going to be breaking down the San Francisco 49ers 2025 regular season NFL schedule. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts and analysis on each game, including scores and record. Let's get it. Now, I want to first start by prefacing this conversation by saying I feel like it's going to be a very big bounce back season for the Niners in 2025. There's a few distinct reasons why I feel this way. Number one being the obvious, guys. Finishing last place in the NFC West last year allows us to play the last place team in the various divisions that we have on our schedule, along with, of course, the NFC West not being the dominant division even in the NFC last year, right? With that being said, I just think strength of schedule-wise, we're the weakest. We have a very, if I could just be honest, easy slate of games. Now, of course, it's the NFL, and you never really can know. We're just guessing at this point how well teams will do headed into the season. There's always those surprise teams that come out of nowhere that have a strong season. But based on strength of schedule and the games played last year and the records played last year, the Niners have the weakest strength of schedule. So that's the obvious. Go ahead and get that out of the way. The second thing I would say is coaching. Okay, we've got Robert Saleh back in the building. Just his scheme and common sense best practices on defense are going to make a huge impact. I feel like we really catered our draft picks around Robert Saleh's idea and plan for the defense. Just those two things alone, I think, are going to help our defense tremendously. We have a new special teams coordinator. I think some of those, again, common sense best practices on the coaching side are going to be paramount in turning our season around. If you go back to 2024 and you think about how many games we just lost because we couldn't make a stop on third down for multiple series in a row. We couldn't make a special teams tackle. Missing critical field goals, really bad times for momentum swings. If you just if you can clean 50% of that up, how many more games would the Niners have won last year with that? So if you think about just from a sheer coaching perspective, I think we're going to have a leg up this season. I also feel like this is going to be a very important season for Kyle Shanahan, head coaching this football team. To enter the year, there's not going to be a Brandon Ayuk. There's not going to be a Deebo Samuel. He plays for the Washington Commanders. I think this is going to be refreshing because it's going to require Kyle to go back to the drawing board and start scheming up some things for this young talent that's on this team. And I really feel like Kyle's going to be in his bag a majority of this season. He didn't have any playoffs, any Super Bowl to, eat up all his creative juices. I really feel like he's going to go back to the drawing board and improve some things. So, you got strength of schedule 1, you have coaching number 2. And the third thing that I feel that might be most relevant is that there will not be any off-season drama. If you kind of look at last year, the circumstances that transpired with the Brandon Ayuk contract, Ricky Pearsall's tragedy of getting shot, just really one thing after another, Trent holding out, Christian McCaffrey, I feel like everything has been top priority to get all of these different various things that impacted the offseason last year buttoned up and taken care of. So I feel like we already have a very strong vibe, a swagger, a confidence heading into 2025 that just was not there last year. I really feel like they're going to come in here for 2025 refreshed and renewed and hungry. If I'm the 49ers, as much success as this team has had in recent years. It had to feel like a gut punch with what happened to them last year. And I think they're going to come in here ready to get to work and ready to handle some business. Super excited about the draft class that we've had that's now signed, and looking forward to analyzing the schedule. So let's go ahead and get to that. Let's go ahead and pull up the schedule. Now, looking at this schedule, we kick off week 1 on September 7th at 1:05 p.m. West Coast time. That's going to be 4:05 East Coast time. I'm an East Coast guy, so that'll be basically the 4 in the afternoon game, opening up at Seattle. I'm going to be honest. I'm very, very, very happy, very, very excited that this is our first game of the NFL season. I think it's a very, very good challenge. Brock Purdy has done extremely well in his career against Seattle. In fact, I think the only loss that he has in his career to Seattle was the Geno Smith game last year, where he scored there on that last drive to basically seal that win over the 49ers. He's had a lot of success. I really want to see Brock have a good start to the season, bounce back year for sure in Seattle, hostile environment. I think this gives the Niners an opportunity. It gives fans an opportunity to see how locked in and how serious and how hungry the Niners are in 2025 after what happened in 24. I think it's an intriguing matchup having Sam Darnold, play against the Niners, where he once, called home before he went to Minnesota last year and had a great season. You're talking about a quarterback who beat the Niners last year. So I'm really looking forward to it. I will say this. My prediction for this game is a Niners win. I have the Niners winning 24-17. And it's really for a couple of reasons. Guys, Sam Darnold, let's be honest, is a statue back there. The Niners know this. Robert Saleh knows this. I think we're going to cater, maybe put a few exotic blitz schemes there. Mykel Williams maybe doing some twists on the inside, some stunts. You're going to have Nick Bosa, who's, hard to contend with as it is. We have very, very solid corners in Renardo Green and Demo back there. So I really think that this is going to be one on the ground. I really feel like this year Kyle is going to get over his whole playing Christian McCaffrey 90% of the snaps in the running game. I think we're going to see some things mixed up this year. I think we're going to see some screen passes. I think we're going to see some end arounds, really, because we're not going to have a choice. We're really going to have to, Deebo Samuel's not walking through that door, and Kyle is going to have to scheme some things up. And I ultimately think it's going to be the defense that really is going to carry us in this game. Typically, defenses are much better out the gate than offenses in the NFL anyway. And I do see us pulling off that victory 24-17 on September 7th at Lumen Field in Seattle. September 14th at the New Orleans Saints. That's a 10 a.m. start on the West Coast. That's going to be a 1 o'clock start on the East Coast. I'm predicting this to also be a win, 27-13. Poor Saints, man. Bless their heart. I think they're going to have some struggles. They're going to have a rookie quarterback in there. Again, there's going to be a lot of growing pains, a lot of lessons that I think that team will have to get through. New Orleans is honestly, in my opinion, a contender to have the number 1 pick in the draft, come 2026. So I definitely seeing us winning this one, 27-13. Next game you have is on the 21st against Arizona. This is going to be a 1:25 start on the West Coast. That's going to be a 4:25 start on the East Coast. I really went back and forth on this game. This is kind of that game where I had some feelings like this could be the Niners' first loss. When I broke it down and I thought about the game last year, the game where they just blew the doors off of us at the end of the season, we were we were really reeling then. Team wasn't healthy. Backup quarterback, and I'm not trying to use any of this as an excuse, but I mean, you could just tell we were done. Now, that first game that we played against the Cardinals, we were winning that entire game and unfortunately choked it away at the end. We did that a few times last year. And I really do feel like even though Kyler Murray is always good, always solid to start the regular season, I really feel like we're going to put it together early on this season. And I have the Niners pulling out the victory 28-24 at Levi's Stadium. The following week on the 28th, you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars also at Levi's Stadium. This is going to be a 4:05 East Coast start time. I just think, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong for feeling this way. I just feel like Jacksonville is just an inconsistent mess, right? I know that Trevor Lawrence is going to be back, and Trevor has all the intangibles, man. Size, arm strength, speed, skill. He has all that, but for whatever reason, it just seems like the team as a whole can never really fully put it together around Trevor Lawrence. And I'm got to be honest, guys. I see Jacksonville as being a contender for a top 5 pick in 2026 as well. I have us winning this game. I feel like in this game, we're going to jump out to an early lead and slowly give it up toward the end, making the game look a little bit better. Yeah, making the game look a little bit better than it should have been. I have the Niners pulling out the victory at home 24-21. Now the game that you want to circle early in the season. October the 2nd at the Los Angeles Rams. Prime time. Prime Video game on Amazon. It's one of our 5 prime time games this year. So just to kind of segue into some of our prime time stuff, we've got 5 prime time games: week 5, week 7, week 12, week 16, week 17. You've got at the Rams at home against Atlanta. That's a Sunday night game. The week 5 game against the Rams is on a Thursday night. You've got week 12 against Carolina, a Monday night game at home. Week 16, you're at Indianapolis. That's a Monday night football game. Week 17 is against the Bears at home on Sunday night football. Just historically, West Coast teams have done so very well when playing home on Monday night football. So I'm really looking forward to some of those games. And again, and it's no disrespect to Atlanta and the Panthers and the Bears. It's just that as bad as we were last year, we beat the Bears. Carolina, I think they're going to be improved, but I just feel more confident in the Niners at home on the West Coast for that Monday night football game. And we've generally done very well in prime time, excluding some of the debacles from last year for sure. But getting back to this week 5 game against the Rams, I went back and forth on this one a lot, guys, and I have to be honest. I feel like we are going to lose this game. I think we're going to jump out the gate very, very hot with a 4-0 start. I really feel like that the Rams right now are a step ahead of the 49ers. They won the division last year. Their young defense is really starting to put it together, and I think it just improves this year. Now, the Niners and Rams always play each other tough, okay? Even last year when we choked the game away to the Rams early on when we were winning, essentially the whole game, and they make this roaring comeback toward the end, and we ultimately lose. I mean, they had, no Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua. You would think that the Niners would have blown the doors off them. And it looked to be that way early on. But sure enough, man, these tough division games, these division rival games are always close, always neck and neck. And I feel like we are going to lose this game. And as crazy as this sounds, I feel like it's going to be an important loss. I have this one being a nail-biter close game that we lose 28-27 bad guys, the Rams. The following week, October 12th, we're at Tampa Bay in Raymond James Stadium. I, for whatever reason, guys, over these last few seasons, even when we've been successful, when we're coming off a loss, especially a tough loss, we've seemed to string together losses, like in pairings and in groupings. Even when the Niners, made a Super Bowl run, there were 3 losses back to back to back, 4 losses back to back to back when they were, when they were doing well, when they were being successful. And unfortunately, I feel like this is one of those games. I feel like we're going to lose to Tampa Bay 17-24. And I've noticed this with Kyle too. After a tough loss, he tends to get just overly fancy for whatever reason. Tries to do all kinds of crazy trick plays and just come out the gate passing 4 straight series and things like that after coming off a bad loss. And I feel like, Kyle is Kyle, and that's the way he coaches. And I feel like that's what he's going to do in this one. Coming off a tough loss to the Rams, in Los Angeles in prime time, traveling, all the way across the country on the East Coast. It's a 10 a.m. start basically for the Niners, but a 1 o'clock start on the East Coast. I just feel like that's a perfect setup for the Niners offense to just struggle out of the gate, only scoring 17 points and Tampa Bay putting up 24 on us. So right now I got us 4-2 with 2 back-to-back losses. Don't get mad at me, guys. It's just what I think is going to happen. Now the next game is kind of interesting. I'm in the South. I guess you could say that the local team here, because I live in Alabama, the local team here is the Falcons, right? So on October 19th, we play the Falcons at home at Levi Stadium. Now, over these last few seasons during the regular season, I don't know why we just can't seem to beat the Falcons, regardless of how good or how bad our record is. For whatever reason, we just can't beat the Falcons in the regular season anymore. So I went back and forth on this, but to be honest with you guys, I just really feel like after that loss that we get in Tampa, Kyle's going to shake it off, get in his bag, go back to the drawing board, and we're going to come in here at home and dominate the Falcons. I have us putting up 31 on the Falcons and winning 31-17. The following week, October 26th, we're at the Houston Texans in NRG Stadium. For whatever reason, guys, I feel like we're going to lose this game and lose it in overtime. I feel like we're going to get a 31-28 loss. I think this is where Jake Moody might miss a field goal in overtime. Houston gets the ball, drives it down the field, and kicks a field goal to beat us. I don't even know why I feel like Jake Moody's going to win the kicking job, but I just feel like he's going to be lights out in the preseason, lights out in the offseason, even come out the gate, with us only kicking like a field goal a game anyway, and he's going to make those little chip shot field goals, and we're going to think, oh man, Jake Moody's cured, Jake's back. It was just a tough year last year, and this is where Jake's going to rear his ugly head and miss a game-winning field goal in overtime, and then Houston's gonna go down the field, get in position, and beat us by that field goal. Just what I feel. Following week, we're at the New York Giants, MetLife Stadium. Another one of those 10 a.m., feels like 10 a.m. starts for the players of the Niners, but it's really 1 o'clock Eastern here on the East Coast. I do think we're going to win this game. I hate to sound like this, man, but it's the Giants. I think they only scored 10 points. I think we get this win 21-10. The following week, November 9th, against the Rams. I think this is going to be the payback game at Levi Stadium. Another nail biter, another close rival interdivision game we have had, the Rams number, for the most part since the Kyle Shanahan era. And I really feel like Sean McVay and company have kind of built their team to mirror what we tried to do. It's going to be a nail-biter. It's going to be a close game. But I have us coming out with the win at home, 27-24. November 16th at the Arizona Cardinals, State Farm Stadium. I feel like as soon as I saw this game on the schedule, I felt like they're going to get us in this one. I really do. I've got us losing this game. I have us losing this game 27-20. I just feel like it's one of those games after squeaking out a tough rivalry, tough win, having back-to-back divisional games on top of being on the road. At this point in the season, I really just feel like the Cardinals are going to be due, and they're going to pull out that win. I have us losing that one 27-20 to the Cardinals. All right, Monday Night Football, Carolina Panthers at Levi's Stadium. I really feel like for the Panthers this year, you kind of saw what Bryce Young and company started putting together toward the end of the season. It's like since they benched the kid, man, I have to give that coaching staff an immense amount of props, a lot of respect for the decision that they made to sit him. They probably, started coaching him up, really showing him some film sessions of areas where he was just struggling, man. For a while there, guys, Bryce was looking so bad. I was kind of nervous for his NFL future there for a little bit. But obviously, guys, I have to be honest with you, and I mean this, not everybody that comes out number one pick is really ready for that moment. And I really feel like maybe the moment was just a bit too big at that particular time for Bryce. I think being benched for a little while, gaining his composure, going back, in practice, working on his craft, helped him immensely. It almost makes you wonder what would have happened if they would have just sat him to start with. Maybe he wouldn't have had confidence struggles in the beginning. I mean, not everybody, and I know it's tough, man, when you draft a quarterback, number one overall, the fan base, everybody wants him to come out there and show what he's got, show why he deserves to be the number one pick. But I mean, look at the team around him. It's not great as it is anyway, right? But I really feel come that this time in the season that Carolina's going to start putting even more and more things together. I really feel hopeful for that franchise, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of people with their win-loss record. As a matter of fact, I think there's going to be a big-time surprise in this game. I think this is going to be one of those games where out of the gate, it looks like the Niners are going to roll them, okay? But toward that fourth quarter, we're going to kind of do what the Niners do sometimes when they let their foot off the gas and let the team back in it. But I do have us eking out a win 24-23 at home. And this is going to be one of those where the Carolina Panthers make the score look better than really the ebbs and flows of the game really shows. All right, Sunday, November 30th at the Cleveland Browns. At the Cleveland Browns Stadium. I have us pulling out a win over the Cleveland Browns 20-17. The thing I'm very curious about is what quarterback will be playing that game. We probably have like some form of like quarterback roulette to figure out which one of those three guys are even, playing quarterback for that franchise come that week. I couldn't even tell you. It's really going to depend on, I think, Deshaun Watson's health, how well the two rookies look behind him. Shedeur could be the starter at that time. Or it could still be Deshaun Watson. Now, I'm not too sure. Again, I hate to sound like this because it's the same thing I said about the Giants, man. It's the Cleveland Browns. There's just a few teams I feel like that about, man. The Jets, the Browns, the Giants. It's bless their heart, man. Bless their heart. Week 14, finally we get a bye week. I think that we really, not only did the Niners luck up with this, for lack of better words, soft schedule, but I think they really lucked up having a very, very late bye week, getting rested up, getting that extra rest before making this push toward the postseason. As you can, very well surmise from this analysis, I definitely think that the Niners are going to make the playoffs. And I think that this bye is going to be critical. It's going to be crucial because with only 3 games remaining in the season, based on everybody's health, it might be time to start making some business decisions. So the following week when we come back, December 14th against the Titans, I really feel like this is the game where we've had rest, we're locked in, we understand we're making the playoffs, and this is where we need to push to make this thing happen. I have the Niners blowing the doors off of the Tennessee Titans, winning 34-17. Excited to see what the rookie quarterback Cam Ward does over there, though. I wish him all the best of luck. I just don't think he's going to have enough tools, depth, weapons around him to be, ultra successful in his first season. Now we got Monday Night Football on ESPN on December 27th at Lucas Oil Stadium. I got to be honest, guys. I don't know what the Colts are going to do. The Colts are going to do this year. That team could go 8-9, or they could win 4 games next year. I really don't know. I think it's going to be all based on how they jump out the gate as to what their final record is. Regardless, though, I have us winning 27-17 that game. Sunday Night Football, December 28th against the Chicago Bears. Now, I'll say this. We looked really, really good against the Bears last year. It was one of those games where it's like, oh, man, there's the San Francisco 49ers we know and love. Kyle was coaching like 2023 Kyle. Our offense was moving like a 2023 offense. Brace yourself for this one. The 49ers actually showed up on defense, like almost had like a totally complete game that game. For a second there, I thought we were going to be back and reel off a bunch of wins and make a postseason run, but obviously that was just not in the cards. I do have us winning this game 31-21. Again, this is going to be one of those Sunday Night Football games on the West Coast that West Coast teams historically do well with. Now, last game of the regular season, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, this is one of those time slots that the NFL can decide if there's any type of playoff implications, like slot, move, adjust around to possibly be on prime time. If I could just be 100% real with this, I really feel like the reason we're going to get beat by Seattle in this game, I have us actually losing 13-28 in this game, is because I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles will have already locked up home field throughout, and it's going to be a business decision just for us to sit the whole team and rest our guys. With that said, I have us with an overall record of 12-5, a 12-5 record. To sum everything up, guys, what I would say is I feel like it's going to be a very good bounce-back season for San Francisco. I think we definitely make the playoffs. It's really hard to tell. It's really hard to predict ahead of time whether or not we can make a solid run, especially due to the fact that we're not really going to be tested too much or challenged based on this schedule. I truly don't feel we're going to know if we truly stack up against a Philadelphia Eagles, a Detroit Lions, a Green Bay Packers, these playoff teams. The best gauge we're going to get is really when we go up against the Rams. And again, I don't think that, the Rams are the belle of the NFC either. So we'll have to see what we can do, but I do feel like we're going to make the playoffs. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with my 12-5 record prediction? Do you see us winning more games? Do you see us winning less games? If somehow the 2023 Niners were walking through that door, we would all say we got a good chance at an undefeated season. But that's not the reality. We're not accounting for possible injuries. We're not accounting for if we look like we have a good record come the middle of the year. Will the Niners push? Will they make a play at getting a big-time free agent to make a long postseason run? If you enjoyed what you saw in today's video, please like and subscribe. As always, thank you so much for your time. Take care. Be blessed.